chapel community, and especially for investing in our next generation. Over the next few minutes, we'll go over instructions on how to fill out your background check. These background checks are necessary not only to ensure the safety of our children, but also to comply with various regulations and policies of the Army. We know they're not exactly easy, and we thank you for pushing through and getting them done. The first form we'll look at is the initial screening and assessment application. It's the one with the two images in the header. If you will start out by filling out your location, where your primary focus of ministry is. Schofield Barracks, Main Post Chapel, HMR Chapel, AMR Chapel. And then the next block is the program that you're mostly focused on. That could be Catholic Women of the Chapel, Protestant Women of the Chapel, Family Night North, or just chapel service. This will help us keep the ministry leaders updated. Next block is pretty self-explanatory. Your name, your current address, phone number, email. Social Security number, Privacy Act statement is at the top, and place of birth, that is both city and state. The next blocks are for your two references. Each person needs two references who will vouch for their character. We need their name, their phone number, and their email so that we can contact them. Now, they're each going to have to sign and fill out another form, which we'll talk about next. We would prefer that these references be someone who's already involved in the chapel community if possible. That allows us to talk to them in person very easily. Otherwise, we'd appreciate it if they could be on the island. That just helps trying to get in contact with them. But if they're on the mainland, please just let us know what their time zone is, because we will be calling them and talking to them. The next block says my role in the chapel. And please just mark whether you are a UMT member, a chaplain assistant, a volunteer, a contractor, or a civilian employee of the Religious Services Office. The next line, if you've had a background check already done in Hawaii, say you are a coach for youth sports or provide in-home child care or many of the other agencies that do background checks. If you've already had one, please put the date and which organization you did it through so we can expedite the process. And lastly, just sign and date the form. The next form is down at the bottom, says DA Form 3439, dated January 2002. At the top it says Non-Appropriated Fund Instrumentality Employment Inquiry. Now this is for your references. Each of your references will fill out this form about you. Now if you just start at the upper top left, and it will say check blocks of how they know you, and then the approximate amount of time that they have known you. The next section, do not fill out block 2. The next one says personal appraisal. Your reference will just check whether they don't have sufficient opportunity to observe you, you're outstanding, better than average, adequate, or unsatisfactory in each of these areas. Do not fill out section G, and then move on to 6 and 7. Same things, just answer the questions. And then in 8, the remarks block, please put in your name as the person getting the background check, as it's a reference for, and that'll be the volunteer's name. And then after given by is the reference's name. It should match the one on that other form. Date it, sign it, and if they have a position somewhere within the organization, they can put it there underneath their signature. Please do this for both of your references. If you happen to have something printed on the back of this form that looks like a memorandum, no need to do anything with that. The next form has a U.S. Army logo on the top. Make sure it has that black and gold patch. It says Department of the Army Release Consent Statement. Now this is a release form and a disclosure form. You can read through it, please, but the pertinent things are fill out your name at the top line, And then in section 1, answer the questions. Have you ever been arrested or charged, asked to resign, convicted of something? Please answer these fully, and if you are in doubt, go ahead and disclose it. It will make it easier later than if you don't disclose something that comes up. For whatever you say yes on those forms, please answer the questions in the blocks below it, as much detail as you can remember. If you don't have certain details, cannot remember because it was so long ago, please take your best guess and put a question mark next to it. On the back of the page, again, type your name, last name, first name, middle initial. Read through what you are agreeing to. This allows Department of the Army agencies to actually do all of the checks that are needed for this. They include the CID and the ASAP and medical treatment facilities and FBI, and this is your release to allow them to do that.
Sign and date at the bottom, and if this check is for a minor, a parent or guardian needs to sign on the bottom line.
The next form we're going to fill out at the top says ADAPTC Client's Consent Statement for Release of Treatment Data. At the bottom it says DA Form 5018R dated November of 81. This form allows ASAP, Army Substance Abuse Program, to release any data they may have on you. So fill out your name at the top, and then the date that you're filling it out. Next, there is some verbiage already filled in, and then go down to section B. You can check one of these two boxes. Most people will check number 1. If you have some sort of criminal justice proceedings in the work related to this, then check 2 and fill in the data that you need to there. But only check 1 or 2, not both. The norm is 1. If you don't know, you should probably check 1. Next, you're going to move on down and you are going to sign and date. And then please just have anyone fill in as the witness. One of our staff could do it when you turn in your paperwork as needed. The last form we'll fill out at the top says Installation Management Command Basic Criminal History and Statement of Admission. At the bottom it says IMCOM Form 25, should be dated 2017. First, you're just going to fill out first name, last name. If you had any other names you went by, including a maiden name, please fill it out in the block 2. Block 3, just fill in RSO, and block 4, you can leave blank. On the next block, it should say Initial Certification, and there are a series of questions. Please answer them yes or no by putting your initials, not a check or X, but your initials into the box under yes or no. And it says, please read the fine print. It says arrested, apprehended, charged, convicted. So if you are in doubt, please just put it down. It'll be easier this way than if something comes up and you haven't disclosed it. And this should match the other form, the G1 form that you already filled out. Now this next question says, have you ever been the subject of a substantiated child abuse neglect case, or are you currently the subject of an allegation of abuse or neglect? Again, please initial down at the bottom, yes or no. Do not worry about question C, because that's just for child care providers, in-home child care providers. So just put your initials in the NA block. Now, let's say you do have something in your record, or you think that there's something in your record, and you put yes in 1 through 6 above. Please explain that in this next section. Say, for instance, 20 years ago, you had a trespassing charge. You paid a fine after you were ticketed. Put that down, as much detail as you have, and that will assist in making this process go much quicker. One note, if you do have derogatory information in your file, some minor things will be adjudicated immediately. If they are, say, this 20-year-old trespassing charge will probably be adjudicated immediately. If it can't be adjudicated immediately, a panel of people on this installation We'll look at your packet, and you will have an opportunity to provide written documentation and rebuttal for whatever it is, and we discuss the case and look through it and make a recommendation to the garrison commander, who for some cases can approve and other cases can recommend that Department of the Army board approve it. We have membership on this board, and we are involved in the process. We can give you more information on how this process goes, but just because you have something in your file, some kind of derogatory information, does not mean that you will not be cleared to work with minors. It'll be on a case-by-case basis. For more information, please talk to one of the team involved in this, in the IRSO. And lastly, sign and date at the bottom. That completes all of our forms. Please turn in your packet to one of our team, and then the next step will be someone will contact you to get fingerprints. Once your fingerprints are done, all of this will be submitted to one central agency, and they will do all of the background checks and then return your what is called a BVC, which says that you are cleared to work with minors. Until this whole process is done, no one can work with minors. Again, we want to thank you for the service that you provide and the amazing work that you do for our chapel community. We appreciate it. We appreciate your efforts in these background checks. And please let us know if there's any way we can help you in this process and in your ministry. Thank you, and God bless.